Scientists say they've discovered vast city underneath Egypt's Giza pyramids, but experts raise concerns. So we heard this news broke. Take a look at this. This is wild. They're saying that they did scans, and underneath the pyramids are these big pillars, 8 vertically aligned cylindrical structures arranged in 2 parallel rows from north to south. And they say it appear to be vertical shafts descend to a depth of more than 2,100 feet. Look at this.
Crazy.
Wow.
This is the Super Bowl for ancient aliens.
You know what I really love about ancient aliens? How racist it is. Because they're like, when the Romans invented concrete that could set underwater and built these megaliths, there's no ancient aliens. But then when it's like Mesoamerican pyramids,
How could they figure it out?
How could a primitive caveman have stacked stones?
There
in a
can
pyramid
only
shape?
be one answer.
Aliens.
So we're laughing. It was aliens that built the pyramids, right? We're all gonna,
You know what I love about like pyramids is it's like the conspiracy people. Conspiracy is not the right word because it's not like there's a conspiracy to cover it up. But they say, how come pyramids were built everywhere? You know, how come there's pyramids all around the world? And it's like perhaps stacking blocks was the easiest thing to do.
No, everybody knows it's from the Nephilim in the Book of Enoch, the Jewish giants who used to roam the earth, and that the Smithsonian are hiding. So
Did you say Jewish giants?
No, and we love Israel. They're called the Nephilim, and they were giants from the Book of Enoch, and they were like 20 feet high. And David and Goliath, you've heard of that?
So they just pick up the.
We used to be all Goliaths. There used to be 100 Goliaths. They would just hang out and they'd pick up the stones, and they would actually have sex with the normal sized women supposedly, and that's how we are. We are the offspring of the Nephilim.
That's how David came about?
Something like that. I think Noah was tall.
Something like that.
Listen,
There's an
hold
asterisk.
on. I got a fact check. We got a fact check here. Goliath was 9 foot 9 inches, according to the
Still
Bible.
pretty tall. Still pretty tall. So I don't know if you fact checked me.
I mean, plenty of the people coming into the NBA now are just about that height anyway.
No, they're not.
Hey,
Nobody's been 9
can I
feet.
just-
The tallest.
You know what's
is
really
George.
funny?
Something like that.
So in this story of David and Goliath, it's like, you know, what did David had a sling and he like hit a rock and hit him in the head and killed him?
Slingshot.
Bro, have you ever seen a 9 foot tall person?
No.
Like you wouldn't like you could blow on them and they'll fall over. Like people who are that large.
They have a bad low center of gravity, so they are easily.
And they're usually it's hard for them to move and their muscles are strained.
Yeah.
And so they have a hard go of things. Hearing about some like regular sized guy who took down a 9 foot 9 inch guy sounds kind of mean now.
Sweep the leg.
You assume that he's so big, he's so strong, and you're like, that poor guy was probably struggling to move.
He only had 3 smooth stones, Tim, dude. A giant. Imagine.
Have you ever seen someone use a sling?
Yes.
You may as well have shot the guy in the head.
When you know how to use a sling.
Bro, there's videos where
I
they
don't
swing.
know, dude. Even if
Bang.
you had a sling and like John Jones walked in here, I don't think you could kill John Jones. No, not that we'd ever want to hurt anybody.
Bro, have you ever seen slings in action?
No.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Just whipping them around.
Bro, they're like, it sounds like a shotgun blast.
Okay, well, you know, I'm not a sling expert. I'm an expert on most stuff, but I'm not.
I'm an expert on most stuff, but not slings.
I need to do a little more sling research.
Not quite a Renaissance man yet.
Not quite, but I'm trying. I'm trying to
Wait
learn.
until you find out about the Sling industrial complex.
See, Tim probably works
All
for them.
propaganda.
Yeah, Tim probably gets
Let me see if I
paid.
can find a video of a guy who's like actually good with a sling.
Let's see this. Let's get.
That's a skill set that would thrive on YouTube now.
Of course it is. But it is a good point that the 9 foot guy probably did have significant problems walking around. You don't see people that are exceedingly tall that can function properly, you know? I mean,
Phil, shut up.
other
Phil,
than the
tall
NBA?
people are scary, dude. We're acting like tall people wouldn't be tough to beat up. This is
9 foot, dude. Have you ever seen like the freakishly tall people?
Yeah, I get nervous if like I'm tall and if like a 7 foot guy like is like an NBA size. If Shaquille O'Neal walked in here, he could kick my ass.
Shaquille O'Neal is not a 9 foot guy. He's like 7 foot.
I'm just saying.
He's big, but he's athletic, and dudes in the NBA,
Yes,
they're
if you like
athletic
put
and
out their
stuff.
legs or something.
But you're
like,
also talking about athletes who are above the average amount of physical prowess, whereas
why are we
the
hating-
average person is actually pretty disjointed and doesn't walk very well.
Well, you guys are, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and let you say that the aliens or giants didn't build the pyramids, all right? I'm not going to sit here and let that happen. Not on my watch, not tonight. Any other night, you guys can do that slanderous gossip stuff, but we know that it was aliens.
When I see proof of the aliens actually building the
Area
pyramids.
51, dude? I knew a guy, I had a guy in my
There are
show
no
that was
pyramids
abducted.
at Area 51.
They don't need to be, but I
Are
know-
there?
It could be
Have you been
underground.
there? Yeah, have you
Could
been
they
there?
be
Could be underground.
You can see Area 51 from Google with Google.
Oh, and Google
Maps.
never lies. So, okay, Mr. Google, trust Google. Oh, I can Google it. Yeah, I can Google a lot of stuff, all right?
I'm
and that
sure
doesn't
you
make it
can
right.
Google a lot of things.
I do Google
I
a
saw
lot.
data from in Independence Day underneath with all the aliens. There could definitely be pyramids down there.
Dude, Independence Day was a good movie.
Masterpiece.
That's one of the best movies of all time. I don't know. The idea that there are aliens, I kind of vibe with, but I think the aliens would be able to hide like in the ocean or something. You know, like they wouldn't have to be in outer space.
Also, the government needs to stop confirming them until I
that's how you
actually
know.
get to see a ship that has capabilities beyond human creation. I don't want to hear about files and document dumps. I don't care.
Only on a show with Alex Stein can we start by talking about Trump revoking the legal status of all of the Cubans and Nicaraguans and somehow get to aliens.
Ancient aliens.
Yeah. Ancient
Okay, wait.
aliens.
Not only do I have the video, it's Ben Shapiro reacting to it.
Oh gosh, this will be good.
Máquina, veremos la velocidad de esta onda muy larga.
Oh, dude, he's gonna love this. Ben is gonna love it.
This is why when people say, oh my gosh, people are throwing stones at soldiers, they're using slingshots at soldiers. How could that do any? I mean, yeah, it could do a lot of damage.
Oh my gosh, Ben, buckle up your pants, dude. Just looking at that.
So
There's some
Jimmy,
momentum there.
Jimmy Corsetti's responded to the pyramid ancient alien stuff. He says, my thoughts on the Giza pyramids. A third party should conduct an immediate secondary testing to compare scan results. The most important aspect of the potential discovery is not necessarily the size and depth, but rather the fact that a potential subterranean extension of the pyramid could exist. This would be exceptionally strong suggestive evidence that the pyramids are a lost technology of some kind, as many, including myself, have long believed. However, it's entirely possible these scans have been massively misinterpreted. He says, but it is a fact that it's premature to conclude anything, and that is exactly why everyone should be calling on an immediate further testing and excavation of the Giza Plateau. Drill a hole straight down and let's see what we find. Based on the interpretation of the scan, it does seem to be wildly exaggerated.
Wait, we're gonna find out later that this is like some wireframe for a video game concept.
Oh God.
Well, I know I've been joking around a little bit, but do we really think that our ancestors were that primitive? Like, don't you think our ancestors had to be very smart?
I think they were. The humans today are no more smarter than humans at their first the first evolution of human or whatever you want to call it. Unless you're faith-based, the first dawn of man. We just know more things. We've compiled more data and shared it more.
Even then, you have less actual utilitarian knowledge because you're reading about it. You're not actually using it in the real world.
There was a period in human history where a person could know everything humans knew. Isn't that wild?
What do you mean? You just could have the amount of knowledge because nobody knew anything?
Nobody knew
Exactly.
anything. Yeah.
So one person was like, what do we know? There's a rock, there's water.
Right.
That's all we know.
Yeah, but I don't know anything now. Like, if I went, like,
You just
Well,
said
that's
that
the point.
You just said you knew everything about everything.
I do. In that sense, when it comes to debating, I'm the world's greatest debater, Charlie Kirk. But that's something different. What I'm saying is, if like I think there's some stand-up comic that talks about it. Like if you went back in time and they gave you like all this technology, like a computer, like help us recreate it, I wouldn't have any idea. You know, like help us recreate a satellite. I'd be like, I don't have any idea. You know, so I don't really know. All the stuff I use, I have no idea how any of it works.
Well, I mean, that's because of
Everybody, right?
specialization. You know, it's modern society is so specialized. You can do one thing really, really, really well, but you don't know how to raise a calf to be a.
Yeah.
We've
Bro.
made technology so user friendly now that like Gen Z is not using computers. They're using phones. They don't know how to set up a desktop.
The last, I guess, maybe not even 100 years, 70 years, is when humanity stopped knowing where its water came from, at least in the developed world. So if you go back, like we're looking at the Roman Empire, right? We're talking about Rome falling. Most people knew where the water came from. Now they had aqueducts. And so there were a lot of people who were probably like, I don't know, the water's coming from somewhere. But most people had a well. They lived in an area where they had a water source, a stream or river. You think anybody in LA knows where their water comes from?
No.
You think anybody in New York knows?
Well, they don't have any water in LA.
To be fair, Chicago knows where the water comes from because they go take dumps in it every day. They literally go in the lake and they're like, I drink this. The water is so disgusting in Chicago. But if there was a collapse event, like if the poles really did shift and that weakened the magnetosphere enough, what Ben Davidson said was that for a few weeks, the magnetosphere would be so weak, solar radiation would be blasting the Earth like a massive flare, and it would fry all of our electronics. I told him, I was like, bro, most people in this country have no idea where water comes from.
They don't even know where the food comes from. It comes from the grocery store.
Yeah, but water's worse.
Yeah.
you can eat dirt, you can eat leaves, you can figure something out, and without water in days you are done. Like your body can eat its own muscles to, and you can survive for a month or whatever, but without water in a few days, it's not just that you die of dehydration, it's that your brain stops working after even like 2 days of no water.
You can live like 3 days without water or 4 days without water, but like after 2, you're done. You can't move. Your body cramps up so much you're doomed.
And society has become so comfortable that the average person isn't expected to know much about anything, because there's a difference between knowing the answer to something and knowing how something works. And that's just a product of having a phone in your pocket that has the answer to any question you want to ask. But actually understanding what that answer means is something completely different. And I think most people fall into that. It's like you kind of actually now feel uncomfortable if somebody asks you a question and you don't know it, because you're kind of expected to know everything because you can just look up the answer on your phone. But if you go on ChatGPT and you get the answer to something, that doesn't mean you understand what it's about. You just know what the right answer is if it was a test. It's not the same thing as understanding it.
It'd be really funny if, like, under the pyramids, it's just like the pyramids are all crappy, and then there's these big tubes and there's stairs that go down, and then there's this massive subterranean, highly advanced base with like computers and crazy tech. And then it's just like, if you just looked, you'd have known the whole time, unless they did. And they do know. And they did know the whole time.
So maybe the Neuralink is under the pyramids, and that's how we'll end
Maybe
up
the
getting the
aliens.
final version.
Tim, they had to have they had electricity or something. That's what they say. They say there's wires in the pyramids.
Wires?
There's like some sort of copper.
Well, they did have electricity back then.
They had something.
They had clay. They would put clay pots.
There's energy on the earth. Like, we could tap energy. That's what they say. Tesla
In Egypt,
definitely had a way to give us free energy.
They had clay
and killed
pots,
them. That
and they
is
would
true.
do electroplating. They would put like wires in, like, what would they do? Like vinegar or something?
Yeah. And did you ever see that where they find like a computer that's 2,000 years old? Type in 2,000-year-old computer.
Yeah, but that's a mechanical computer.
Still, though, I mean, damn, sorry it's not a Dell. I mean, it's
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.